Well, hello and welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair, that VidBlaster guy, coming to you with another thrilling episode. I tell you what, I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek, but I really am serious. You're really going to enjoy today's show. We've got a super guest, Tracy Goodwin, the red sweater lady, who's going to talk to us about voice and about presentation skills. I mean, it's going to be great. So sit tight, don't go away anywhere. But let's do some business first. First off, if you're watching this on YouTube, you've got to subscribe. Please subscribe, because that way you'll get a notice whenever we post a new video, and you don't want to miss these videos for sure. Second is, full disclosure, I am an authorized VidBlaster reseller. So when we talk about VidBlaster, you can purchase it from me. You can go to my website, easternshorebroadcasting.com, and purchase VidBlaster there. If you have a question, shoot me an email, tom@thatvidblasterguy.com, and we can chat about what's the best way to suit your needs. If you want to know more about VidBlaster and you want to chat with folks that are using it, you can go to the VidBlaster forum. That's a great place to get more information, not just about VidBlaster, but also about all the different types of cameras and capture cards and mixers and mics and all the things that go along with making a very good video production. Lastly, I would mention that VidBlaster is currently in version 3.34. That is a beta. It's not the official release version. I think version 3.19 is the last official release, but there's all sorts of goodies that have been added since 3.19. So if you haven't upgraded from 3.19, I really encourage you to do that. Remember that the beta features now are sort of hidden, and you have to use a series of keystrokes. You hold down the, let's see, I think it's Control-Shift, and then click on the modules menu, and you'll see all the extra beta features that are there for you to use. Version, whatever's coming out after version 3.34 has got to be getting close. It's got to be getting close based on all the stuff that's popping up in the forum. So encourage you to go to the forum. That's forum.vidblaster.com and sign in. Go ahead and get a screen name and introduce yourself. It's a pretty friendly group there, and you can get a lot of information. So with that out of the way, we're going to bring in our main guest today. Main guest. I say main guest like like there were some other choices. The only other choice we've got is Tracy Goodwin, and let me bring Tracy in to the show. Tracy, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Now, Tracy is an expert in corporate communications. She works with folks all the time on voice improvement, improving your presentation skills, accent reduction, basically anything that comes out of the mouth, you're going to help us with, right?
That's right.
Okay, well, I'm going to put you on the spot right off the bat. And I did warn you before that we were going to do this, but I want you to critique my opening. Tell me what I did well, but more importantly, tell me what I really sucked at so that I can improve it in the future.
I would be delighted to.
Good.
So you've got, just like everybody else, Tom, you've got some great things going, and you've got some things that I could make better.
Okay.
And that, that's what it's all about, is people, we focus on the bad, but we get so bogged down in the bad that we don't even realize that there's some great things that we're doing. And so first I want to say, and I am going to have to slide my glasses on to look at my paper here, check me on my lighting if I need to do something different here. But first of all, the sound, what I would call, in my technical terms, you have your technical terms, I have mine. The resonance of your voice is very pleasing to listen to. So basically what that means is your pitch is in a great place and it's pleasing to my ear. Now, I'm really going to blow your mind with something, and not to get on anybody else, because we're talking about you right now. But a lot of people don't speak in their true voice.
Really?
Really. And you're speaking in your true voice. And so it's like your voice is in its place. It sounds right. It feels right. But, have you ever heard people that get up here?
Sure.
I call it little girl voice because it happens to women a lot. And they get up here and they talk up here, and it's not pleasing to the ear. In fact, it makes dogs cry. That's what I would say. So compare, contrast. Your voice is not like that at all. You're speaking in your true voice, and so it's very pleasing to listen to. I am all about vocal variety, and I'm going to jump in between things that I think you do well and things I think that we could definitely improve and make you even better.
Okay.
Obviously, in my world, everything is about captivating and engaging the audience. Why? Because research tells us that every 90 seconds, our brain tells us to check out.
Wow.
So, as the speaker, if I am not captivating and engaging my audience, I'm fighting something every 90 seconds. Oh, I got to make my grocery list. Oh, I wonder what's going on over there. Oh, So it's all about how much can you do with your voice to keep me engaged. Your voice is the most powerful piece you have. It is the most underused piece you have. And something that you do very, very well that far too many people do not do well is you have a nice balance of putting emphasis on words. I call it stressing words. You make it very clear to me where the value is. This is important. Pay attention here. Many, many people, and this also becomes very much a cultural thing, everything has value or stress, or nothing does. I call that value. So everything, I don't know where you want me to listen. I don't know what's important. And you do a really good job of that. However,
here it comes.
I will say you're making one choice in the way you're stressing words.
Okay.
There are truly 5 ways that you can engage me with stress.
Okay, hold on a second. Folks, grab your pad and your paper, your pencil at this point, because you want to make notes, because I'm making notes. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so when we say, well, you need to stress some words.
Right.
Most people immediately think, boom, I'm going to hit that. I'm going to get loud. I'm going to make it clear. Okay? That's fine. But that's the obvious choice. Where's the unpredictability? You want to keep me engaged? I need you to be more unpredictable. I need to not know what you're going to do next, because that's going to keep me engaged. If I know exactly what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, you've given my 90-second checkout too much power. I know what he's going to say. I know how he's going to do that. I'm gonna play Angry Birds over here on my phone because I know what he's doing. Okay? I literally had somebody give me that question in a workshop one time. What do I do, Tracy, when I know the guy on the other line is playing Angry Birds? And my response was, you better get unpredictable and you better get it fast. So, I'm trying not to jump around. I get really excited and I start going in a million different directions. But there's other ways that you can add stress.
Okay.
And they tie into a couple of the other comments that I want to make that I think would make you better.
Okay.
One of them is pace. You have a great pace. You have what I call a core 5, which I teach everything on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 is super crazy fast, like auctioneer fast. 1 is super slow. I want everything to be a 5. You have a great core 5. Now, where are the variables? This is happening with your speed, and this is happening with your volume. If you notice, when I speak, occasionally I'll get a little faster, and occasionally I'll slow down. My core is a 5. I'm speaking to you in my 5, but randomly, sporadically, I get a little faster and I get a little slower because I'm adding value to those places rather than just getting loud on them. This is a point. No, I say, this is a point. Or I say, this is a point. Do you see? I just broke up that whole predictable thing. I just stressed something, but in an unpredictable way. So you're going, whoa, 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 what's she doing? Where's she going? I don't know where she's going with this. Same thing with volume. You've got a great 5. You're not too loud. You're not too soft. And you're using your loud side. But one of the most powerful ways to reel people in is get quiet. See, parents will say to me, I feel like I'm yelling at my kids all the time. And I say, well, you are. But they don't listen to me. Yeah, because you're yelling, because it's predictable. Get quiet when you tell them to clean their room. Watch what happens. What? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why is mom quiet? I better go clean that room. You just shook it up. You just became unpredictable. So that would be a recommendation that I would make to you is your 5 is solid. It's great. Now add in those variables. You can do the same with pitch. I call them the big 3, Tom. I call volume, pace, and pitch the big 3. I make up a lot of names for things that I think that people, can connect to. And I call those the big 3 because if you can add those in, you've just automatically guaranteed that you're going to be unpredictable and that you're going to be engaging. People think, oh, I got to captivate my audience. How do I do that? Well, this is how. This is exactly how. All right, now let's see what else I have here on my list for you, Tom. See, you're pretty good. You see, I don't have a whole lot here. Where are you from, Tom?
I was born in Virginia and raised in Alabama.
Okay, I hear the Alabama, and it's not a bad thing. I've worked with people from everywhere from India to Ireland to, I just finished up with a German who'd lived in France for 10 years downstairs before I jumped on the show. One of the things that accents do to us, and this is happening to you just a little bit, it happens to other people way worse, and this is one of my accent reduction pieces, but it really works well for everyone. I call it drive to the end. You see, we forget as the expert, people don't know what we know. We forget that because we know it so well. I do it every day. I'll get on a tangent about this, and I can tell looking at the person I'm working with, oh, wait a minute. They don't know that. They don't know that. That's my expertise. We've evolved into a culture of slang, and we kind of, we just kind of talk, we just say, we say what we need to say. Because, we know what we're going to say, so we say. Okay. If I don't know you, and if I don't know what you're saying, and you start dropping your endings, I won't know what you're saying. Now, I'm not talking about over-pronouncing. And that's why I hate the word articulation, because you say to someone, oh, you need to articulate, and they start doing that. That's not what I'm talking about. I hate that. I hate that word. I'm talking about driving to the end of your words. A perfect example is, I found something a minute ago. What if I say, I found something a minute ago? You see, if you don't know me, and you're not familiar with the sound of my voice, and you don't know my topic, and I don't drive to the ends of those words, you're going to miss it. And you know what happens when you start having to work to hear me, to understand me? 90 seconds. Boom. So I call it drive to the end. I like to explain it like this. Imagine that every vowel and every consonant paid the same admission price to get out of your mouth. If they don't get out, you have to start giving refunds. Well, who wants to give a refund? So you drive to the ends of your words, not over-articulating. You drive to the ends of the words. There were a few times, and it was clear that they were in areas that you know very well. Oftentimes, they're in the areas that, like this show, for example, some of the things that you say, like your introduction, and this happens to everybody in their shows. You've done that introduction a lot. You know it. You could do it in your sleep. Well, if I'm a first viewer, I don't know that introduction. You have a great following. A lot of your people have heard you say the introduction. And I'm not sure if it's the same every time or not. I'm just making an assumption and trying to give an example. But if I'm new to your show and you just kind of rattle off your introduction and, and then welcome everybody, okay, here we go. Because you've done it 500 times. Well, me as the outsider, I'm like, wow, this guy really, I don't know what he's talking about. You see, drive to the end. And there were only a couple of times when you did it, and I honestly think it is probably linked to a little bit of that Alabama. Because Alabama tends to put the weight and the elongation a little bit more in the front end of the word and drops off the end of the word. You see, every accent is different. Some put the weight on the word in the beginning, some put it on the end. If it's at the beginning, we tend to drop off the ending. So I might suggest a little bit of that. Let's see what else here is on my list.
This is a long list. Oh, my goodness.
No, it's actually a short list. I'm just going off on, I love what I do. And so I just kind of ride off on the rails. I get so excited about these teaching moments. I think that's about it. Drive to the end. Shift. Oh, the only other thing I wanted to say. So the initial comment that I made was I think that there are more ways that you can add in stress, which I also call variety.
Okay.
Another way you can do this is, so we've got loud, soft, we've got fast, slow, we've got something that I call elongation, which you do beautifully. I've got people that they can't even quite imagine that. And that is stretching out the word. For someone with a dialect that moves at a much, much, much faster pace, that's a mind bender. You do that really well. I want to give you one last way you can set things up beautifully, and that is pick your pauses carefully. Now, you do a good job with this, but I'm talking along, I'm setting up the big ticket item right here. You see, I stopped. You knew something was coming. I got your attention. What people tend to do is pause it, and it's boy who cried wolf. You've overpaused it so much, I don't know when the good thing is coming. 90 seconds, I'm gone. So, if you really want to get something powerful, you go, and you're shifting, and your variables, and you're doing your thing. Put your pause right there. And you just set it up for me to buy whatever you're selling, do whatever you want me to do, whatever it is, because you saved that pause. I call it the power of the pause. But otherwise, you've got a lot of positives. Everybody does. But by adding these simple shifts, you'll shake up the whole project here. I guarantee that.
I guarantee I like. Okay, I've got questions.
Okay.
You mentioned pitch. Give me some examples of variety of pitch that don't include me talking in falsetto.
Well, you notice I kind of skipped over that. So you see, you caught me on that. I used to, and I'll tell you, I'm just about to kick pitch out of the big three.
Really? Okay.
I really am. It's been in the big three forever, and I'm about to kick it out, and I'll tell you why. Exactly what you just said. I feel like in a quick workshop, in a quick deal like this, I can easily explain speed variables, volume variables, and you can safely go out and try that and meet with success, which is what I want. I don't want you to take this and go try it on your next week's show and then be like, well, that was a disaster. Uh-huh. Okay? I feel like that's what happens with pitch, especially with men. I think that because men have a lower range, and generally, across the board, not always, but generally, and without proper pitch, range building, If I say to you, oh, you need more pitch play, that's exactly what you're going to go out and do. You're going to go like that. And it's going to sound horrible, and you're going to be mad at me for life. So I'm careful about pitch play. I like to throw it out there more as food for thought. Something, what is your range? You know, how high up can you smoothly go? I like it more of a food for thought thing. But really honestly and truthful, I'm really backing away from it because I feel like I'm leaving people hanging, and I really feel like I need to teach them how to do it before I set them free on it, because really all of this at the end of the day is so linked to confidence. And I'm all about building confidence. I don't want to set somebody up to go out and try something that I don't know in my gut, in my heart, that they're not going to just go out and nail it. But depending on your background, depending on your skill set, depending on what you're able to do, I think a word or two here, up or down, is great. But I think that's the key piece to all of this. Pitch, volume, speed, it's just in bits. It's a word or two. Don't go out and start, doing everything, oh, she said raise my pitch, so I'm going to go out and talk like this. Or she said go, add in fast, so I'm going to go and I'm going to add in fast. I'm going to add it in everywhere. No. Add it in here and there. Because what it's doing is it's adding stress, which means it's adding value. It means I want a ham sandwich cannot be the same as the building's on fire ever.
Right.
The value is different, which outside of my voice technique terms, the stress is different. But we choose one form of stress, and that's why we don't engage. Because people engage with recreations of real life. In real life, my best friend's getting married. He did what? You see, we play all these variables. Then we get in front of the camera, or we get a script in our hand, or we start doing a presentation, and there are no variables because we're completely focused on the words. People can't connect with that. They can't engage with a brick wall. But if we can recreate what we do in life, then we can connect.
Okay, another question.
Okay.
You mentioned the key word, which is confidence. And some of us, like me, are just dumb enough to be confident in it because we don't know any different. And, by gosh, we've stepped in that mud hole so many times. What if I step in it one more time and screw up? No big deal. But for somebody first time out of the box, or the first couple of times out of the box, confidence, how can you be confident in something that you don't know?
Yeah. Well, you kind of opened up a can of worms for me here, and I'm gonna rattle off as many suggestions as you will allow.
Well, we've got 5 minutes, so.
Okay. First of all, you've got to get past one of people who have fear of speaking, people who have fear of getting in front of the camera and whatnot. It can boil down to about 5 different sets of fears, and usually it's what are people going to think, and what if I mess up,
sure,
which links into what are people going to think. So you have to, first of all, you have to do what I call run to the roar. You got to that fear is way bigger than you think it is. So just run right up on it and go ahead and discover that you can do it, and let's get past that, okay? Because it's all in your mind. It's not going to be a disaster. When I coach people, I say, what's the worst thing that can happen? And they say, well, I mess up. And no, the worst thing that can happen is you're going to die. Are you going to die? No, that's not going to happen, so we don't need to worry about this anymore. Now let's move on and get you going here, okay? So you got to run to the roar. You've got to flip your mindset. You've got to reframe. You've got to believe that you can do it. Many people have heard the term fake it till you make it.
Sure.
You've got to pretend like you know what you're doing. It will become you. Everything we put in our muscle memory becomes reality. That's why you remember that car wreck from 1984, because it's in your muscle memory. So why not put in your muscle memory that you're an outstanding speaker, and you hold your body as such, and you use your voice as such? It will reframe. you have to get past the fear of what you look like and what you sound like, which is what I hear all the, well, I don't like the way I look. Yeah, but you know what? There's a million people out there that do, and they're going to connect with you exactly the way you are. You have to stop thinking about it all being about you. You have to think about your message and the people that need to receive it, because there's people out there that do. I could have sat here for the rest of my life wishing that I had the courage to teach people how to use their voice and speak and get in front of the camera. I could have just as easily done that as someone who's never gotten in front of a camera, because just like everybody else, I have those fears. But I said, nope, this is what I do. This is my purpose. I think I can touch lives. And I jumped out there and did it. And you do it, and you do it, and you do it, and you do it, and then it's like, I'm a boss at this. I got this. And it does get easier. But you have to kind of mentally refrain, you know, and believe that you can, even if you don't. And of course, you know, if there's things that you need to work on, if you need to get better in front of the camera, if you need to work on your voice, if you need to get better at technical stuff, absolutely work on that. But don't wait until it's all perfect, because it never will be. And if it is, people aren't going to connect to you.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. We all try to be Hollywood. We all want to look great and everything's perfect and look how perfect she looks and speaks, and that we feel like that's so far out of our reach. We could never be like that. Well, you don't want to be like that. You want to be you, because the people that are going to connect to you are going to connect to you. None of that other stuff is real. It's all beautiful and perfect.
Right, right. All right, so somebody's watching this show and they've said, oh, golly, this is good stuff. I need more. Where can we go get more of what you've got? I mean, tell me, you've got a website, theredsweaterlady.com.
I do.
And what kind of resources are there, and where else can we find resources?
Well, I actually have two websites. I have theredsweaterlady.com, which is how I'm most known around the globe. But I also have a new site, captivatetheroom.com. And on the Red Sweater Lady, for sure, I've got lots of training videos. I've got information about, and really both of them, I've got articles. I've got information about the programs, the type of programs that I offer. But then I've also got some YouTube channels, Tom, that have mega videos on them. I'm cranking out videos almost every day. I do these little short 3-minute tip kind of,
Perfect.
Hey, let's talk about poor pacing. Yeah, you know, it's not these long, hour-long sentences. They're all titled, let's talk about tone of voice. Teaches you. Boom. Just like that. I've got downloadable courses, too, on udemy.com. I have a voice course, and I have an accent reduction course, and a Captivate on camera course. So you can find me everywhere. Google me.
So, all right. So if I go to, I mean, you know, the number 2 search engine in the world now is YouTube.
That's what I hear.
Isn't that amazing? So I can go to YouTube and I can go in the Red Sweater Lady and you're going to pop up.
Yes. Or you can type in Tracy Goodwin.
Okay.
Yeah. It's all linked up. I have a Red Sweater Lady account and a Tracy Goodwin, and they're connected now.
So I can be on the bus on the way to work with my phone, and I can go to YouTube, and in 3 minutes I can get a tip from you on how to improve my public speaking ability. This is too cool. I am stoked. I am stoked. Where have you been, Tracy?
You know, a lot of people say that to me, and clients will even say, does everybody know about you? And I'll say, well, I wish more did. But, you know, that's where people like you come in and save people like me with all your technical know-how.
Oh, yeah.
We all have to work together, you know. I think we're good at what we do. And that's why everybody's good at something. If I was good at everything, I wouldn't need anybody. But I'm not.
Right.
This stuff that you guys do is mind-bending to me. I love it. I don't understand it.
Right.
But I know I can't survive in 2015 without it.
Gotcha. Cool. Cool. Okay. Well, I hate to do this, but we are out of time.
Oh, it goes by so fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you're going to stay around for the second segment.
I am.
Okay.
I am.
And folks, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll want to pick this up. Today is Wednesday. We'll be uploading this show tonight, but the second segment we won't make available until Friday. So that'll give you something to look at over the weekend. But theredsweaterlady.com, captivatetheroom.com. Go check out Tracy's resources. And we've got something in the second segment that we want to talk about that we didn't get to here in the first one, so that's probably just as well. All right, so Tracy, thank you very much. Hang around, don't go anywhere.
Thank you. I love being here.
Good, okay. All right, so, whoops. And so much for doing things the right way, you know. I thought I was going to get out of here and get out like I was supposed to, but it didn't work out that way. Sorry about that. One of the great things about this show is that I can screw up all I want to, and it's my show. But if you are interested in having a show of your own, you're going to need some good live production software, and I really do commend VidBlaster to you. Take a look. VidBlaster.com is the corporate website. Forum.vidblaster.com is where you can go download the latest beta. And EasternShoreBroadcasting.com is my website where you can purchase the VidBlaster software and a lot of other accessories that go along with it. I'm Tom Sinclair, That VidBlaster Guy. It's been a treat to be with you today. If you've made it to the end of this video, hat tip to you, but also don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. We'd love to have you there. Take care, and we'll see you next week.